Hey, I'm Dukes on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and GreenSunsZenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it. Hey, a huge thank you to my current patrons who support my content and are the ones to thank for keeping mid-roll ads off my videos. It's really humbling to be supported by other players from all around the world. I absolutely love being a member of the Maverick and wider Legacy community, and it's a real privilege to have the voice I currently have within it. If you want to join the Zenith or support me in other ways, check out the video description on how to go about that. Alright, let's do this. Yo, hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back tonight with a green-black Turbo Depth stream. A deck that I really enjoy playing. Shout out to Boyd, who lends this deck off me lately and has been really enjoying it. And I think it's a pretty great deck in the current format. I think it's pretty underplayed. And yeah, I just feel like depths in general is pretty strong. The one main card to worry about right now is probably Wasteland out of decks like Blue-Black Scaminator. Obviously Delver, lands, also has access to multiple things through crop rotation. But I think with a deck with Pithing Needle in the main deck, it can work really well. And of course, here trying out Veil of Summers in kind of the last two slots over the main deck Duresses. So hopefully facing against a lot of Grief decks today, a few Force of Will decks. We really want to have those Veils online most of the time. One card I've also been really liking is Invasion of Ikoria, which gives you not only another way to win, but just a little bit of, my double click isn't working here, a little bit of flexibility. The game plan with Invasion is typically get to 4 mana, and with 4 mana you can search for a non-human creature with CMC 2 or less. In this case, you get Hexmage. You get the invasion down with counters on it. You can then remove the counters from the invasion, which then flips into an 8/8 Vigilance, I believe, that also has, you may have attacking non-human attacking creatures you control assign combat damage as if it weren't blocked, which is pretty sweet. So you can choose to potentially kill the thing that's trying to chump block it, or just trample over for all that damage, which is really nice. I really wanted to play a pretty clean list here, so we are just going with a lot of 3 and 2/ofs in the sideboard, looking at Leyline for the Scaminator decks and some of the combo decks, Dismember as just an all answer against things like Triumph of St. Catherine, the biggest one of course, Magus of the Moon, Force of Vigor, really love that it's a free card. Spirit Guide pitches to it, which is really nice. The Bowmasters are pretty much there for decks that I expect to play Sheoldred's Edict as just a way to give you another token, but obviously also just a really well-positioned card in the format right now. Safekeeper, also really strong. Duress, just for the extra combo decks in case we play against those, or sometimes control decks as well, taking things like Swords Plowshares or potentially Force. Some key cards missing. Karakas, not in the 75. There's really not a deck where I think care about legendary creatures. If my opponent has a opposing Dark Depths, we do have Ghost Quarter to get rid of it, or even Boseiju to interact, which is nice. Typically faster than the other Depths decks as well. If they're playing Reanimator, we're typically wanting them to just not be able to put a creature into play. Obviously it doesn't work that well with Show and Tell, but Show and Tell is not really part of the format, so the cut of Karakas is really just because we're wanting to focus on the current metagame as we know it. Tower of the Magistrate, kind of cool card for the sideboard, slowing things down like D&T, trying to win through Cauldra, obviously quite good against 8-cast and Thopter tokens, but again, not really in the metagame. So drop that as well to really like buff out the sideboard with more cards that we want for typically what's happening right now. The other card that I thought about was Pick Your Poison, which is a sorcery speed spell for 1 green, and I believe you can have target opponent sacrifice an artifact or enchantment or a creature with flying. which is really powerful, really flexible, comes in against a lot of decks if you are playing it. But I think this deck, because you have so many certain cards that you're worried about, like Ensnaring Bridge or potentially Blood Moon, those decks tend to play other enchantments or artifacts. So although those two cases aren't the greatest, because if they have Blood Moon out, if they have another Blood Moon, that obviously does nothing. But if you choose enchantment against the Blood Moon deck and they only have one Blood Moon out, it obviously works. But I feel like sometimes if you're choosing, like, say, artifact, like maybe they have a needle or something else, they can get rid of what they don't want. So like, say your opponent has Ensnaring Bridge on the board and they also have a Saga, and you want to deal with the Ensnaring Bridge, well, they're probably going to get rid of the Saga instead with the spoils. So having the Force there is really good. Hey Dan, a huge thank you for the sub. I hope you did well and had a good time at the Buffalo Chicken Dip Legacy event on the weekend. I believe you're playing Bug Beanstalk, which is very cool. Really powerful deck. And yeah, very cool to see a Maori, or at least a All Blacks jersey, make the top 8, which really caught me by surprise, but very cool to see. Nice. This is pretty cool. There's a showcase challenge on tonight. Sadly, that's 1 AM for me on a Monday morning, so we won't be playing. Cool. Play points, Turbodeps, nice. Gameplay. Very cool. Dan, I know you played against Maverick in round 1 as well. Do you remember which archetype it was? Grief too good? Yeah, I know Grief is pretty insane. So here we have a hand which is slow, but it does have a plan. It has Urborg into Thoughtseize, and then turn 2 Catacombs into Depths, and then we have Not of this World for protection, and then we also have Invasion of Ikoria potentially on turn 4 for Hexmage, but that's a little bit too slow. I think we can do quicker than that. Okay, well, this is literally it. So we have turn 1 Urborg pass, turn 2 Depths with Hexmage, and then just have double Not of this World. So I think in this case, just because we don't have the green, we're happy to drop the Boseiju, keep the Ghost Quarter. That jersey is for rugby. The All Blacks, I would say, the most... How would I put this? The most successful sporting franchise in the history of sport. So we're going to keep this bottom Boseiju. Nice. Green white with Stoneforge, very nice. Yeah, no Megasloth online, sadly. Megasloth would be cool. I think it would be a really sweet card to play around with in depths, and I think could definitely, maybe even create its own small version of probably turbo more than slow, but it is very cool. We're going to lead with the Urborg. Depths gives away straight away what we're on. If they're a blue deck, best case off the top is probably Lotus Petal or Spirit Guide to play around Days. Honda, okay. I'm pretty happy to play into Days here as well. I don't think you play Turbo wanting to play around Days too much. And when you think of things like Thoughtseize, Grief, you really just want to get your board down as soon as possible. Yeah, you can protect it with Not of this World, which is really cool. I saw a really sweet version with Minskenboo, and it was like a Jund version of Depth, probably like more slow Depths, that played Bombardiers and Minskenboo, so you could also like throw it after you've attacked with it, which is pretty funny. I chose to not shuffle. Okay. No free mana, but honestly here, so there is the option. There is the option of play a land, play Needle, name Wasteland, and then next turn play Hexmage, but I'm happy just to Daze check or Force check. Okay. Obviously, just to play around Wasteland here, we want to just make this now. And also doing it now to stop Stifle. I think an Edict effect is the only card we have to worry about here. But they didn't have Daze, which is pretty huge. It definitely gives you a little bit more confidence each time that happens. Hey Albert, too kind, hope you're well. A huge hello to everyone from Albert's stream. What did you play and how did you go? Hope you had a great time. Chrome Mox. Ah, this could be a combo deck. Most likely. Maybe like Bug. Tear. Ah, Beseech. Okay. I guess that's, yeah, that's actually definitely the other outcome of this game is, okay, you go faster than I go. Beseech here does turn off the Mox Opal, so I assume they want to tap mana for the Mox Opal first, yeah. Okay. So this is a matchup where I'm typically happy to take out the Not of This Worlds. I believe we're dead, yeah, but we can at least make them go through it. But yeah, typically Not of This Worlds, the Duresses are quite good. I don't mind the Dismembers, sorry, the Leylines or the Bowmasters. Force of Vigor is also interesting, knowing that we have a deck that does rely on Chrome Mox and Mox Opal to some extent. Right. So what we're wanting to do is obviously not lose any velocity, but probably take out some of the higher costing spells. The Knots and these are pretty easy to cut. The Veils are actually really nice to have. Bojuka Bog is still relevant. Sejiri Steppe, not so much. Like, it does give you some play against something like Echoing Truth. I could see the Ghost Quarter coming out as well. We want the Duresses. We want the Bowmasters. The Leylines. I probably want some number of Force. Yeah, Needle could also be a pretty easy cut. Because there's nothing great to name. All their artifacts tap for mana, so their mana abilities. I don't believe they play... I don't believe they play Wishclaw anymore, so... maybe it is something like this. I honestly don't mind this. Especially having the forces in response to Chrome Mox. You can destroy them before they get tapped for mana. The Leylines are nice, but I am going to keep a solid hand without them. Guy's Will is just one way to win the game. Would be very cool to have, say, an opening with, say, Petal and Veil, or even Spirit Guide Veil, just to be able to hold that up. We will play. No, sadly not. It does have Leyline, but otherwise we're not really casting anything, so we will mulligan this. I mean, this is a lot better. The issue is that the Spirit Guide doesn't do a whole lot. This is pretty much a 5 because we're most likely going Bog tapped. It's either Bog tap pass and then Petal Hex Depths, but that's very similar to game 2. Or we go play Bog, play Petal, play Thoughtseize, and then just rely on the top. I'm typically a player that likes to go for card quality over quantity, and I feel like we could mulligan to 5 and find a pretty nice hand anyway. Because what you really want is the classic 3 of Urborg, Depths, Hexmage, and then anything on top is kind of jelly, so pretty happy to mulligan this. Sadly, we have the Yav, which is a bit tough, so we are going to go down to 4. Okay, we can do something with this. Especially if we keep these 4, we can just try to go turn 1, Urborg, pitch, find Dark Depths, turn 2, play Dark Depths, play Hexmage. That's probably the best 4 we're going to get, so I think that's a pretty good plan. Just try to put them on a turn 3 again. Which is nice. It's a lot faster than the other decks, than the other hands, sorry. Obviously, we don't have Not of This World left, which is fine. I think even if we draw something like Thoughtseize, I'm happy just to play the Hexmage, play the Depths, because Thoughtseize might buy us a turn, but the Hexmage means they have to go off the following turn. Brainstorm main phase is always very scary. Typically from a non-Storm deck, you're actually pretty happy to see it, but from a Storm deck usually it means they're, say, 1 card off. It can be very Feast or Famine though. A Brainstorm in your main phase can definitely lead to a Brainstorm lock as well, but yeah, it's tough because I feel like in this sort of matchup, it's very much play to win, and how can you go off faster than your opponent than relying the hand on, okay, this has interaction with my opponent. I'm going to try to interact first and then try to win later. I think it should definitely be the first thought should be, how am I winning this game within the first 1 or 2 turns? And then does it have something on top? Does it have interaction? Petal's nice. We are going to keep that. Look, some random versions do play Daze, and I'm not going to be the guy that's just going to hold up Petal as an unknown and get taken out by Daze. That would kind of suck. I'm also happy for them. If they have end step interaction, they have M step interaction. The Brainstorm did have to be quite good, or else I assume they found parts of their deck that was also already in their hand to some extent. Or they potentially needed this 1 mana to 1 tap with. But even if they go, say, land pass, as if they're holding up something, there's no reason why I would never not go for it. Because for all I know, A, they don't have it, or B, they just need 1 more turn to get 1 extra mana and then go off themselves. But I mean, a pretty sweet 4. I definitely can't be unhappy with it. Turn 1, find depths. Turn 2, Hexmage into depths. But I would say if a friend had Ant or Tess and wanted to battle in paper, I'd be pretty happy for it. I think the hand disruption makes it pretty interactive from both sides. So it's not a case of just sort of 2 ships in the night passing. There is a fair bit to it. Even things like crop rotation for Bojuka Bog giving you some interaction there other than just hand disruption based interaction. In the older builds, you could search with a Wish Claw if they potentially got one vital thing, then passed it over to you. And then you could remove the counters from it before they could use it. It's always pretty cool. But typically you would use it for Dark Depths, so you would just have the Hexmage with the Dark Depths anyway. Yeah, this delay is always a tough one. I feel like they're counting. Because I think if they have interaction like Echoing Truth, which I think is a pretty standard piece of interaction, they wouldn't be thinking this long. They would just be thinking, we can see if they want to go off in the end step. And then potentially, if they do, and I have Echoing Truth, I have to worry about a top deck Thoughtseize. Yeah, if you're a big fan of Depths content, definitely check out Crucible of Words on YouTube. Done a few co-streams together and really enjoyed it. He's got a great lot of legacy content. No, I believe it's Crucible of Words. The permanent is Crucible of Worlds. Hey Mangork, welcome, hope you're well. Happy Sunday. He is a rider, so I believe that's where sort of Crucible of Words came from. Not playing Legolas is no. Just because it does cost a mana. And we don't typically get a way to make use of its tap ability. Red mana, interesting. Burning Wish, okay. I'm not playing the showcase. Sadly, showcases I can't play because they're typically on 1 AM time on Monday mornings, and I start work at 8, so it's a sad time. Just NZ things, just Australian things as well. They're gonna Veil, that's fine. Nice, just to turn on. Oh no. 6, cool. Could definitely. I've stayed away from co-streams just for a little bit. Oh, wow. Interesting. Just because of like the time they take. But hopefully come back to them at some point. I'm not that keen to change anything, honestly. Pretty happy just to run it back. The best case is Veil Spirit Guide in the opener. Would love that. Yeah, I couldn't tell because couldn't they Beseech and then Cabal back some mana? Oof. I mean, it's pretty sweet to have the Veil here. This is a pretty risky hand because the mana isn't really there, but having the Veils open is really nice. So actually, I'm going to keep this. It does have the combo as well. We just have to be a little bit lucky with what comes off top. Obviously, Urborg would be the best draw. Opponent's gone to 6 cards. They can't cast Guy's Will without bargain. They couldn't have cast a bounce. Like, I guess they could have, but they wouldn't want a bounce spell off the Wish because the Wish only gets sorcery speed effects. Okay. Three years, 11 months. Very, very cool. I actually forget how long I've been streaming for, but that's crazy. Damn, Mangok. Mangok, you send me a private message on Twitter. Sorry, on Twitch. Or if you're on my Discord, send me a Discord message. Send me a list you want to see on the stream, and I'll stream it. 100%. They didn't have an artifact. There we go. Okay. We are going to Bog. And then it's a tough one. I could go for Thoughtseize or Duress here. That makes me think that they do have a slow hand. I think I'm happy to play the Petal and just pass. I really want to have green mana for the Veil. It also means if we draw Hexmage off the top, we do have Hexmage mana and Depths mana. Or Hexmage and Depths. I do enjoy Delver. I do have Delver in paper. But I don't know. I feel like yeah, if I was to be if I was to stream Delver, there's so many good masters that stream Delver, and I would just be out of my league. Ooh, Spirit Guide's actually quite cool. Definitely playing this. I'm happy to Thoughtseize. They could have their own Veil. Okay. We also have crop rotation open with this, because then we have 1, 2, 3 mana, which is crop for stage and use stage, which is pretty sweet. Also love seeing these cards in Legacy. I've seen them in a few different strategies now. I know Brian Cook is a big fan of them in Tess. Obviously in this deck as well. I assume this is closer. Maybe it is still Tess. It just looks like Bug Beseech. So maybe that's where the difference comes. I'm also happy to use the Spirit Guide here if they Thoughtseize, because although they know about the Lotus Petal is also our second black source in case we do draw into that Hexmage. They potentially have a line with Empty the Warrens, which will probably push me to end step Spirit Guide for Veil and try to find the combo as soon as possible, because once they're all on the field, we don't have a great way to interact with them. But yeah, Greenham, when you're on lands, and when you're on green-white lands, what matchups do you find the most challenging? They're good grape shot, that's very true. Brainstorm. Oh, they cast it just for having an artifact in play. I wonder if there's a line where I should veil in response to Beseech in case we draw crop rotation and we can... Oh, the bog's there. I was going to say we could try to bog them. Maybe actually there. I think there I should have responded to the fetch with Veil, try to draw into Force of Vigor, and force the Chrome Mox. Yeah. Just in case that's a draw. I don't think they'll go for Tendrils just because they did Thoughtseize us and they know about the 2 Veils. In that case, I am going to Veil in is there a reason? I don't think there is a reason. There was just before. But yeah, that was me just being a little bit complacent. Because everything comes up. All good. Interesting. I think I let this I'll let this resolve. They have 1 card left. It's an LED. I think in response here, I will Veil. See if we can find Force of Vigor. No. Okay. I'm actually happy we didn't, because then it means that the line before was not there. There goes an Echoing Truth. That's pretty huge. Petal. Okay. We will cast this. They have no cards. They don't know about this Veil, which is good for us. We can't put the Leyline in. Just a pass? They're going to discard it. Okay. Beseech. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Alright. I think this is still just worth playing. Okay. I wonder if they sack the LED here to try to float some mana. And then worst case, they've just replaced it. But best case is that they draw into like another Beseech. And they will. I guess, yeah, I couldn't Veil into Force of Vigor because I don't have another green card. So I kind of here probably just have to hope that they try to Tendrils me out of the game. Hey Jer, thanks for the follow. Hope you're well. Songs is very cool. I've actually played a Songs of Creation deck on stream about, I'm going to say a year ago, maybe a little bit more. Maybe 2 years ago. And it did really well. This card is pretty insane. But hey, a good of a time as ever to plug YouTube and Twitter. I don't think I'll ever refer to it as X. I don't think I've heard of anyone refer to it as X yet. Alright. Get to Veil here. But I assume this also just gives them the line of, okay, now we get to just go Burning Wish into Empty or Grape Shot potentially. Yeah, I did also have a version of this which doesn't play dual lands. You can play with Blooming Marsh, and it doesn't really change up too much. If anything, it lowers the cost of the deck quite substantially. Opponent definitely digging. I mean, they also only have 6 spells left that they can cast, or else then they draw and can't draw. So surely they have a, okay, they have a Beseech. Hey, Lord Miller, you're very kind. Thank you very much for joining. Hope you're well. 12 months is awesome. A year. Ooh. So they're gonna Gaia's Will. Oh, they lost? Ah, they get rid of the Songs of Creation. Okay. Yes, there are fetches in this version, but you don't have to get them, obviously, in others. I assume we'll see Grape Shot here. Yeah. Nice. All right. Back in it on the play, which is fantastic. And we have a pretty medium hand. We do have like turn 1 Needle on Wasteland, turn 2 Hexmage, but it doesn't really have a plan otherwise. And what I really want to keep with this hand is a plan. This again, same sort of thing. Mana, 1 piece, protection, no. Okay, this is actually a lot better, because we have access to, let's have a quick think. So we have Spirit Guide with the crop. We're definitely keeping this. I'm bottoming probably the stage. Let's have a quick think. So we are putting 2 cards back. So we definitely want the Hexmage, the Bayou. The Thoughtseize as a turn 1 play seems great. And then honestly, I think it's going to be Spirit Guide and Crop that I keep. Because that allows me to play around Wasteland a little bit. It also gives me access to Dark Depths as soon as possible. So I think that's going to be the play. There is a world where you could go for Stage. But I just automatically move towards the Hexmage, especially seeing we already have one Bayou. Veil's also pretty nice, because like there's so many decks where Veil just comes up, but... I mean, we have a lot of draws off the top. I think I am going to go off my gut. Thoughtseize into Bayou, and then really hope off the top. That's true. Any mana does work with Stage. Even another Spirit Guide off the top works with Stage. Okay, we're going to be up against a pretty tough deck, but here I'm pretty happy to take the Ponder, just because it's a little bit harder for them to brainstorm without a... They would have to brainstorm without a fetch in a way, so I think the Ponder here I'm happy to take. The Ponder also sees more cards. Hey, the real GYBA, thanks for the follow. And the raid, apologies. I hope you're well. What did you play, and how did you go? Alright, just holding up. Ghost Quarter. One. Okay, next turn. Any land now does it because we can Ghost Quarter ourselves for a swamp. But we also have to be a little bit wary of blue count and Force of Will. So there's the Brainstorm. So there essentially goes all thought of knowing their hand. But hey, welcome to all those from the Real G's stream. I'm Diggs on Twitch. I'm Australian. I usually stream twice a week. Sunday evenings, which is now, and also Thursday evenings. All right, so they are Brainstorm locked, which is a little win. Now this is pretty nice as well. We will just go for the Bayou here, especially if they try to prismatic ending the Hexmage. We can then of course crop in response. And if they try to tap out next turn for Narset, we can of course try to crop in response to the tick down. Swords. That's a tricky one. That's a really good pickup because we don't want to spend the crop on Sejiri Steppe here. So I think we just allow this because we know about those prismatic endings. Yeah. But that's okay. We do have one piece of the combo still, which is nice. So we can definitely try to get it back running as early as next turn. I can only assume this Ponder shuffles unless they find off it or off the unless they find off it a fetch land. Okay, still pretty happy with their hand. Delver. Okay, I did not expect Delver to be in this deck. Pioneer and Vintage. Managed to discover a new dayback feature. I have a clip if you don't mind. 100%. 14 hours. Nice. Nice. That is a grind, my friend. Okay. There's some protection, which definitely helps against Source to Plowshares. This looks to be like a Stoneblade Delver deck. Interesting, so they pondered and kept, but didn't set it up to actually flip. That's why. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That makes things a little bit tricky with lifelink, obviously going above that 20. But it is a fight that I am ready to fight. Fourth Erlingus. Okay. But potentially no mana for it. Swords. This is it. No. But we can see the hand. Yeah, a lot of interaction. They're playing Days as well, which is, it's actually really good to know about the Days. Okay, so for this sort of matchup, I don't really want to bring in the Dismembers, but I obviously like the Dismembers for the Catherines. I do like the Duresses as well, and the Bowmasters, and the Safekeepers. The Invasion isn't something that I'm really keen on in this matchup. It's really for like the Bolt, Fatal Push style decks, or at least the Bolt ones. The Needles I could see coming out as well. They might run a Caracas, but we do have things like Safekeeper for those. The Crops I don't mind, but obviously against a blue deck they can be a little bit tough. Ghost Quarter for Caracas is nice. Boseiju just in case of some sort of yeah, third party trick. The Bog I could definitely see coming out. And then I typically don't mind going down on fast mana. It could also be a world where I actually don't bring in all of the Dismembers. Thanks JW, you as well. All the best for the showcase. Let it rip. Might just be the Petal. The Petal can be hit by Prismatic Ending, but if they're Prismatic Ending a Petal, I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, we have a sweet hand. We have turn 1 Duress into turn 2 Hexmage plus Depths. So pretty happy to keep this. Sadly, Sloth isn't coming to MTGO just for now. Actually, ever. Which is really sad because the Sloth would be very cool to have online. Alright. Don't have to fetch here, which is nice. Portent. Okay. That's going to be fine. They chose to not shuffle. They could play land and then Prismatic if I do go for crop there and block. Nothing. Alright, let's try. Wow. Nice. Very cool. Very nice. Yeah, I was trying to think if I should have done something in response to the Ponder, because we knew they didn't have another land, and so they can't find both land and Swords to Plowshares with the Ponder. But I couldn't do anything in the main phases, because if they found a land off the Ponder, they could Prismatic Ending the 2020. Very fortunate. I think we're just going to run this back. We didn't see anything in their hand that was substantial, so yeah. I do like that the Orcs provide another way to win the game, especially against a Brainstorm deck. Like, the token can get out of hand pretty quickly. Sadly, this is just a hand that has no real plan. To play Dark Depths and then find a piece, but I'm happy to mulligan this. This is actually really good because we have the Sylvan Safekeeper as well. So we get to keep this. It's actually a pretty tough keep. So it's a tough one to put back because we want to play the Safekeeper, but probably not on turn 1. But it's tricky because if we go Bayou into Safekeeper and then we protect it, do we really need to have the Not of This World? Or could we see if they actually try to remove the Safekeeper and then just trade it 1 for 1? I could also see like a land going, but if I do want to save the Safekeeper, I probably want to go... Yeah, I have to go green. I guess I could go Petal into Urborg, which then sets up a turn 2 with 1 land available to protect, plus Not of This World. Hey Vegeta, yeah, the coloring is all off. I did accidentally delete some settings, but I appreciate the message. I will definitely try to fix it. Actually, you know what? We got heaps of time here. We got 17 minutes. I'm gonna quickly try to filters, color correction, brightness. Yeah, really tricky one. I think it's Not of This World and just try to get off the back of the Safekeeper. I think that's it. Knowing about the days as well, we will go Verdant into Petal, into Bayou, into Safekeeper, into Urborg, into Hexmage, into Depths. I chose to not shuffle. This way we are happy to throw away the Bayou to play the Hexmage off the Urborg. That resolving is pretty huge as well. Like, on the stack is probably the fairest way to try to get rid of it. They could try to Prismatic Ending and then Swords in response to me sacking the Bayou, but that's already a 2 for 1, or a 2 for 2, but nice. They didn't have Days last turn. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Look, I actually don't mind just holding up the Bowmaster here, the next turn going for Hexmage, but it's tricky. Just in case... Yeah, I'm actually okay with this. Just because we are a little bit land light. Okay. Pretty happy to pounce on this. They're gonna force it, that's fine. Especially seeing we didn't really care about Bowmaster. Getting a 2-for-1 on the stack is probably exactly where we want it to be. And honestly, if they use a Prismatic or a Swords on the Sylvan Safekeeper here, I'm probably happy just to allow them to do that. They're really digging here as well. Force, pitch, force. Wow, they don't have it. They chose to not shuffle, which is interesting. Brainstorm and response. Okay. That is fine. Because next turn we just have stage as well, which thankfully is a turn, or a 3-turn. Or at least it's relevant because the Dark Depths taps for mana. There we go. Also try Flux, maybe that'll help with my face. There we go. Wow, another force. It's fine. Oof. I don't believe we have an answer. Okay, our plan is to try to find, because we didn't bring in force effects. Okay. We definitely don't want to trade. Yeah, we have to find Boseiju and a green source in either Lotus Petal or Elvish Spirit Guide. I wonder if they hold back here. Oh, they play Wasteland as well. Crazy. Okay. There's no point holding the step. Okay. It is Jeskai, which is a tough one. Okay. Interesting. Let's attack. I don't think we cast them just yet. Not until we know what we need. Because if I cast this for Boseiju, we have to draw into another petal. But right now, I have to draw into another petal. But I could also draw into Boseiju naturally. Just trying to think what lands we have. Like Crop gets me a basic swamp. That's fine. We do not have a basic forest. No. Just because a lot of my answers to Blood Moon are free, that I didn't feel like I needed it. And hey Evan, hope you're well. Another scrying. We still have time. There's a basic mountain. Okay. Elvish Spirit Guide. Elvish Spirit Guide is what I really want. I also need to find another depths as well that obviously has 0 counters on it. Well, there's the depths. Cavern is sadly just, it's a little bit tough because like you have vampire and you have human and you only have 4 creatures typically in the deck that you really want to use that sort of slot for something like a Sejiri Steppe or something else. Typically your hand disruption as well is a great way to keep your creatures flowing through, especially Hexmage. I'll sack the depths. Attack. Now we have the depths without. Right. We have 2 more turns. They're probably playing Bolt though. They're probably a Bolt deck. Especially with like Red and Delver, you'd assume. Maybe they're playing Prismatic Ending or Swords in that sort of slot, but... Well, they're targeting themselves. Okay. I thought they might have targeted us. All right, this is big. This is a big one. Ooh, no. So we get 1 more turn. Potentially. Fourth. Yeah. Tough. It would have been a while. Yeah. Close. That's cool, but trying to think, like, sometimes you see like Assassin's Trophy or Abrupt Decay in the sideboard as like a catch-all, which potentially if there was a loose card in the main deck I would have brought it in, but I don't think I would have straight gone for it. Maybe if it was Trophy because it answers both Delver and Catherine and then potentially something like Blood Moon, but I just didn't expect it. And that's when Blood Moon is obviously the best, is when it's not expected. But yeah, the basic forest I find is just a little bit too awkward on the starts you want as turbo, because you want to go turn 1 hand disruption or turn 1 Hexmage if possible with some sort of backup. But yeah, I did actually have it in the sideboard as like a 15th card for the moon decks, but even then if you search for it, it's quite hard to maneuver your mana around it. Like I could even see it. I do like the Yav as like a 5th Urborg, as it allows some things like the double green for Force of Vigor, which can come up. It obviously gives you another way to just naturally turn 3 Marit Lage, but you could potentially have that. as the extra green source. I was also thinking of like one Mox Diamond in the list as an extra Lotus Petal effect. It also sticks around, of course, but even the ditching of a land is a pretty tough ask. Usually with Mox Diamond, it's a little bit nicer because the card disadvantage doesn't catch up to you before you win with the hand with a Mox Diamond, because you get that extra, usually an extra turn with a diamond hand. Yeah, exactly. So like, for a lot of the Blood Moon Mega decks, you're bringing in your Dismembers, your Force of Vigors, which don't obviously need the basic. Unless you're in a really tough jam. And I do like the spread of what Dismember and Force of Vigor provides for the deck in terms of sideboarding. But I'm happy to take the loss for where potentially the basic forest would have been nice. I'm actually okay with this hand. We have turn 1 Verdant Needle, turn 2 Scrying, and then turn 3 Hexmage. A little bit slower, but it has a really nice curve to it. Well, I definitely tried. Ooh. Interesting. They tried to do something. Maybe play a Chrome Mox? No. I could get the basic swamp here, which potentially, although it isn't great, it does hit my mana a little bit. It potentially could make my opponent think, okay, they're a swamp deck, they're like a mono black deck. We don't need to play the Blood Moon here. We'll play the Bombardier instead. Mountain definitely got me. I think we're naming Bombardier, but I kind of want them to play a Bombardier. Oh, that's a little bit tricky. Could also say like, hey, you have it, you have it. Because obviously off the top, a Spirit Guide or a Lotus Petal is great, as it allows us to play Hexmage and also crop rotation. Like, what does this swamp actually do? It means we can play the Hexmage. We can actually see. It means we can play the Hexmage with a Petal. It means we can cast all our hand disruption. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bayou. I'm happy to go for Bayou. I'm still just gonna name Wasteland. I don't want to think about too much what they're doing based off just a mountain, but I'm going to assume it's a deck like Mono Red Prison or Goblins that don't have great hits with Needle. But obviously to try to play into like, oh, we think it's this, and then get hit by Wasteland would feel much worse. Okay. Thoughtseize is nice, but it does slow us down a full turn. If this was another color, we could Scrying for Boseiju right now, and then next turn we could play the Hexmage and know we have it all up. I guess we can still do that because the Boseiju we could just play and then crop off it. So I think here we will get the swamp, scrying for Boseiju, but then crop for the depths. Ghost Quartering the Mountain does not trigger the city, but that's a great question, because city is when you play another land, not when another land comes into play under your control. Yeah, let's... Scrying for Boseiju. This also turns on a lot of outs in Spirit Guide, Lotus Petal, just be able to cast or, yeah, channel the Boseiju, which is nice. But I can only assume here, probably pitching 2, we're going to see a Blood Moon. I didn't want to play out the Hexmage that turn either without having some sort of protection. Even a 2-for-1 and something like a Fury on the Hexmage would be pretty tough for us because it puts us back so much. But opponent having a really good think. Maybe they didn't hit a Moon effect and they're saying, hey, how can we win this as quick as possible? Or like worst case, if I don't draw into... Oh, they're going to be Painter. Ah, that makes a lot of sense as well. Bombardiers. Okay. Do they have a welder? They do. Okay. A little bit scary, but not too bad. All right. Play Boseiju. Play Hexmage. Hold up crop. Yeah, what if this player is playing a bit more aggressive? As in like more 3-drops potentially? Fable, Broadside. There's also a world where I should have just cropped on my turn, because if I allow them to attack, and then they, like, I can't block this, and then they go shoot, we crop, and then they shoot again, then we're done. So there is a world where I actually want to, at the beginning of combat, go for depths, but of course if they have like a bolt, then they can bolt in response. But I guess if they have a bolt, we can't beat that anyway, so we should just crop. Okay. It's pretty cool. I assume they attack with both of these. Get the mana off this. But yeah, definitely a small decision that can definitely be the be-all end-all. Because I think it was probably best just to do that all in my turn at sorcery speed. Especially with this guy around. I feel like though, as it's like goblins and like goblin pirates, I feel like it shouldn't always be 2+. It should be some sort of dice roll. Like, goblins aren't the smartest creatures around. I feel like if it's flavorful, it should be like, you know, they hit the target and then there's like 6 of these went into the water. But here we are with one of the best creatures in Legacy right now being a 2/2 3-drop. That's a goblin. It would have been, yeah, it would have been cool. We did discuss Bombardiers, but we also wanted our opponent to play Bombardiers if that was their 3-drop of choice. Okay, so they're attacking with both. Block here. Go to 8. They could have a Breya that gives them a flyer, I believe. It's very true, Drago. That's actually some really good points. Maybe I underestimate how accurate a goblin can be. If they cast a Painter, we want to Hexmage in response. Because if they have a Pyroblast or a Blast effect, they can blast the depths in response to us targeting it with Hexmage. I don't think there's another way. They're going to Soul Guide. That's going to be fine. Probably to draw a card here, potentially. Okay. Nice. Very cool. Especially post-board when we have some really good bangers in Dismember and Force. I think that's it. I don't want to overcommit here. I'm not really worried about the Not of This Worlds. I'm really worried about things like Ensnaring Bridge, obviously the Blast with a Painter in play. The Veils aren't that great. Obviously if they're named blue, it's very good. Maybe they do, but I'm not a big fan of like making them rely on that, because a lot of the time if there's a Painter in play, I'm just wanting to remove it ASAP. I don't want to try to take advantage of it. I think that just puts you in a really bad spot. I think that's just the easy cut. And then everything else is pretty great. I did at some stage have Collector Oof in the board. I did take it out just for the extra Force of Vigor, as it's usually coming down cheaper. The Oof you can't really find unless you Invasion for it, which is a bit too late against the decks you want it for. But I think otherwise we're looking pretty good. The Sejiri Steppe is a little bit meh, but at the same time I do just want to hit my land drops. I think I'm happy just to run. Like Duress is always interesting, but like Bowmaster takes out Welder, but that's kind of not here nor there. Grindstone, Bombardiers, could name Fable, you could name Saga. I do like that Bowmaster can be cast off Swamp and does trade with Magus. That's something to think about potentially. I could even see like just keeping one of these in the deck. Maybe I actually like the Duress. I don't mind the more hand disruption over the 8/8, which runs into a lot of things. This is a turn 2 with some protection, but not really. We do have Spirit Guide, which is relevant for Force of Vigor off the top, but this This is otherwise a pretty lame duck hand. I wonder if they play Dead Gone. Probably not. I don't think the metagame's at a stage where they want Dead Gone. We're up a game. I'm happy to see where this goes. This has interaction. It has fast mana. It also just has the combo, so I'm pretty happy to see where it goes. Especially if they lead on like a Saga. Being able to hit that with a Needle would be good. Obviously here just Needle on Grindstone is also pretty nice. Yes, Legacy staple Grintstone. And we're just going to pass here. This feels like a painter. No, okay. That is something we can Needle again, which is kind of cool. They find a bridge, but thankfully they might not be able to get it into play. Bet I would love to see Duress or Thoughtseize off the top. That would be insane. Another Spirit Guide doesn't really do a whole lot. So playing the Depths. We'll use a Spirit Guide as, if for some reason this turn doesn't go well, we then still have a green source and a black source through Blood Moon. Name Engineer. Name Hexmage. Wow. Okay. They didn't even take a draw. I wonder if they didn't even have like, they didn't have the third land or another bridge in the deck. Really tough spot for them. Yeah, Needle's doing a lot of work. A little bit awkward for them as well, because obviously Grindstone is great in the deck to just have there as a, oh, I can combo off, but I felt like they went on the Grindstone to try to then welder into Painter, but then had to kind of divert from that to go and get the Ensnaring Bridge. But then, of course, the other Needle just is tough. Definitely just one bridge? Wow, okay, yeah. That's something I never considered looking at, but pretty happy to only see one bridge. I know there are versions of Painter that have been running around that run white as well with Source Plowshares in the sideboard, which is pretty cool. I assume that's because of decks like Depths where they don't have too much interaction, but also just the metagame as it turns towards more creature-based strategies. But we're on the board, which is really nice. And we could finish by midnight, which is awesome as well. And hey, very cool to have over 100 view here. That only often happens, and it's because of all the raiders. And so a huge thank you to those who came in from other people's channels and stuck around, which is very cool. If you like this content, you can find me through all my socials here. And of course, the GreenSunsZenith, which is a website a little bit out of date these days, but it is dedicated to the Legacy Maverick archetype. And I have so many drafts. It's really sad. Raiders. Oh, of course, because the Raiders, classic. But yeah, let's try to finish this 3-2. The original Raider, love it. Coming from the original Goyf. All right, on the play against fast mana, interaction, but no combo. So, and nowhere to find the combo either. So pretty happy to mulligan this. One piece with not of this world, but no way to find the other pieces. Okay, well we have Scrying in Stage, Boseiju, Not of This World, and Lotus Petal for early mana. I don't mind this. We could also try to get towards Invasion, but I think that's just a little bit too tight. I think we're just going to try to keep what we have. I'm also happy to lead with the... Just going to really think about what we want to lead on. I really don't want to lose the Boseiju right now. If I really wanted to, I could play Stage and Petal to hold up Boseiju turn 1, if that is relevant. Which I don't mind. You do lose the Petal there to something like Prismatic Ending, which doesn't see a whole lot of play these days. So I don't mind. It also might make my opponent a little bit weary of a card like Crop Rotation. Yeah, Ghost Court is mainly for Karakas. Sometimes Saga, if you don't have a fast clock and you just want to get rid of a Saga. Karakas is the main one. Sometimes against lands, you want to get like Mazavith off the table, which can be a bit tricky, but you do have Not of This World for that. Okay. Wooded Foothill is typically a fair strategy. Ignoble Hierarch, okay. Ooh. Play this. Scrying for depths, and I'll play the other Petal. Meh. Maybe not. There's a world if I play the other Petal, they go for like Collector Oof, which honestly I don't really care about. What do I really care about? I think I'm happy just to leave it as an unknown. Hey XJ, welcome. Good luck for the showcase today. I'm sure you're playing. I assume you're also playing what you've been doing very well with recently, which would be nice. Oh, this might just actually be elves, to be fair. It looks like a Cradle start. Two. Probably Fiend Artisan. Oh, it is Oof. Okay. It does slow us down quite a bit. It has to be Crop Rotation this turn. No. I don't want to show this either out of principle. I guess that's actually, like, going back to what we were talking about. That's a great reason not to play the Petal, is to give away the Collector Oof vibes. But this is a matchup where I don't want to care too much about their creatures. It's really just a case of trying to be quicker than them, which, you know, coming down to turn 3 or 4 is a little bit tough, but maybe they're just attacking for 5 here. Yeah, okay. Maybe even attack for 5 and then second main natural order it away. No, because I think if they had natural order, they could have just got there with Oof. Hmm. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, definitely enough for Hoof and get there. Okay. Really low to the ground. I probably don't even want a needle for Fiend Artisan. The Not of This Worlds, they're probably playing maybe Pick Your Poison. Definitely bringing in these. They will have Grist, Atraxa. I guess we can definitely take out the Knots. Probably take out the Veils. They could be running Thoughtseize themselves. I guess it also gets around Grist. Potentially Bowmaster. Duress hits Greensuns, Natural Order. That's 8. Or maybe even 7. I don't think Duress does enough. I think Thoughtseize is good enough. Glimpse typically doesn't see too much play these days, especially with Bowmaster in the deck. It's more like a mid-rangey. It's actually very close to Maverick. Maverick with a nice win condition in Natural Order. Let's just run this and see how it goes. Hopefully don't see too many needles. Okay. I'm happy to keep this. Because we have Bayou into Stage into Bowmaster, and then we have Depths into Crop for Yavimaya, or Urborg into Depths. Really want to... I don't want to see a Reclaimer on turn 1. I want to see a X0. Yeah, boom, 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 boom. Oh, okay. That's not too bad either. Because we do just have land pass. So sorry. Never feels great to do that. Really slow. They did go to 5 cards. Yeah. They obviously just hit a bit of a stump. I think on the draw, I'm happy to take out a Needle, bring in a Duress. Just because I feel like their plan is to combo faster, and typically that's through Green Suns for Fiend or Natural Order. Yeah. They obviously were digging pretty hard with, like, the turn 1 Surveil straight away, creature into the bin. Three lands, 4 spells would be pretty great for us. 3 lands, 4 spells with 1 as like a turn 1 play and 1 as a Hexmage. 3 lands, 4 spells, 1 as a Hexmage, but not 1 as a turn 1 play. No removal either. This is a turn 3 Hexmage into Scrying for Depths, but probably a little bit too slow. Interaction plus Depths. With Invasion, but what's that? Turn 4 with Petal, because right now Depths doesn't tap for mana, which is tough. Yeah, the Bowmaster is a tough one. I do like it because it allows us to control the board a little bit. potentially slow them down a turn. Also gives me a body, if they do have a Crackers, to try to get some sort of damage through. And if they do have Sheoldred's Edict, potentially, it is nice to have the token. I'm going to mulligan this. I think it's just a little bit too tricky. Okay, this is actually pretty good. We have... Wait, definitely keeping. Bottom the Urborg. And then we have Boseiju. It's probably Veil that I drop here. Yeah. And then we have Turn 1 Interaction and Dismember. We then also have Crop for Dark Depths. We find another Dismember. Okay. It definitely buys us time. Another fast mana does it. Ooh. I wonder here if I actually just want to go for depths. Give them a Dismember. But then at least we just have the combo in play and we just want to try to get to 4 mana quicker. I don't mind that. The deck can be very tough on how it goes about allowing you to find the pieces. Because at least now we do have a plan. We have the stage, we have the depths. No fast mana is quite nice. It's pretty good. That speeds it up by a full turn. It's going to be all good. Probably going for natural order next turn. I do want to play around like pick a poison, so I'm happy just to go for an end step. Opponents on Cradle, correct. Okay. Cradle natural order? Green Suns for 3. Grist is destroy. I think we just allow this. Endurance to block, yeah, that could definitely be it. Try to buy the turn, potentially swing back with Exalted, with Natural Order off the top. I like that play. That's a sweet play. Interesting. They're going to give us back the Dismembers. We didn't take out Step. did we? No. Good. Definitely attacking. I will play this. And then just hope. Yeah, I definitely thought about Thoughtseize as well. Or some sort of like Ramanap doesn't do anything there because there's no Wasteland. They're floating 3. So they drew a spell. I can only assume it's natural order, and they're wondering, like, do I just go for the Atraxa, or do I go for Cradle and try to win? Like, do they have some sort of removal that gets me? Because I believe if I have, like, Abrupt Decay or Assassin's Trophy, then it doesn't work. Yeah. Tough. But yeah, definitely the case. Like, a lot of these losses have been just trying to be probably not as quick as the combo decks. It's like going down to Elves, going down to like Bug, Beseech. What was the other one? I guess, yeah, Delve was a bit tough, like Blood Moon. And that's just a thing of like getting to understand the metagame a little bit better. But yeah, very close. But close is not enough. But yeah, I think even if we keep a creature, even if we like keep the Lage back there, it is lethal because I have the extra creature coming through. So even if you block Hoof, then they're going to have the endurance plus the effects of that. It's also good to like make them have it. All right. Pretty happy with this. 10 more Thoughtseize. Turn 2 Depths. Haven't seen too much of this in this league, but these are definitely the hands that can help get some early turn 1s while also knowing a bit about your opponent. You're going to force it, pitching a Ponder. Okay. Misty's fine. Wow, having the Veil here is pretty huge. It's really tough because I would love to Veil in response to Daze, but I think we just Spirit Guide and then pay for it, which isn't as cool, but it allows us to potentially play around Brazen Borrower. Actually, no, it doesn't because we would lose the Spirit Guide if they Daze, but if they Daze, then they actually get rid of it anyway, so it would be I would say near impossible for this deck, unless it's some sort of Jeskai deck. I'm going to assume it's either blue-red, Grixis, or... Okay, we don't have to actually think about it. Well, there is white. Okay. Interesting to show me that they are on a white deck. Didn't expect to see that. I even talked myself out of it just then. But they are on white, which is really good to know about. They cared about the Thoughtseize, but they're also a Savannah deck, so I don't think they're a combo deck. I think this is again just going to be like a Bowmaster, probably Dismember deck. I don't mind like a 2-2. Needle for Wasteland I still like, but probably not as much. I like that you say that because the Thoughtseize was forced, so we saw no cards. So that's why you don't remember. I think it's just the invasions, unfortunately. Which is tricky. I really like the invasions, but potentially they're just... Like, it's nice to have a plan B and one that isn't too far off what we're trying to achieve, but... Tonight they just haven't been that great. Interesting hand. I think against like a Wasteland style deck I'd be happy to keep this, but it's just a little bit too slow. Okay. Look, a little bit awkward with the mana, so I don't think we can keep this, but maybe, yeah, maybe now I'm looking back at that opener. I'm happy to keep this. Dismember and probably Spirit Guide. Spirit Guide playing around Days is pretty cool, but I think like Thoughtseize into Bowmaster and then potentially into Depths Hexmage is pretty sweet. Hexmage also gives us an out if we just draw into Dark Depths. That's true. The Savannah could mean they're not on Days. But there have been rug decks that play Taiga before. Okay. I think I'm happy just to lead on the swamp into Thoughtseize. Okay. I think it's just the Beanstalk. The Leylines are annoying. I believe we took out... No, okay, we kept in 3 Not of this World, which is nice. We also have Boseiju for a Leyline binding if they go up to one of these. I think it's the Beanstalk. We do have the Bowmaster, but it's just a little bit annoying. Yeah. I assume we see an end step Brainstorm, just to dig for mana. Or the Triumph. Okay, Nice. I'm happy to play out the Petal here. And then pass Bowmaster open. Off a Bayou. I'd love to see them end step Brainstorm. Just to get like a second 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They can Leyline in response, but then we do have the Boseiju for Leyline down the road. Being able to Boseiju the Leyline in response to another Brainstorm is pretty sweet. Scrying. Okay. They are stuck on land. That's actually a great point. They are Brainstorm locked at the moment. Okay. That's pretty good. That secures the land and it also gives a shuffle. Ooh, that for Sejiri Steppe is quite nice. That is pretty sweet. They only have 5 cards left as well. So I'm happy to play out the Hexmage here. Have open the crop rotation as well. I was like, there is like a world there where you could go like, sacrifice, get depths, get a Marit Lage. Now Boseiju costs 1, sack and hit the Leyline, but we know they have another Leyline, so that's true. Only 5 cards, but yeah, that is a fair amount of cards. I think there is one of swords here to like push the Hexmage. Yeah, so here we can use it and then see if they go all in on the. I guess it's not really all in on the Leyline. I could try to protect it here with the crop, but I think I'm happy just to try to protect the depths. Correct. Boseiju does not protect it from... What actually happens if you destroy Boseiju with the Leyline trigger on the stack? I assume you just lose the thing forever. Oh, it never exiles? If you kill binding with ETB, you don't lose it? Ah. Oh, it does protect Lage. Okay. Well, that's really interesting. Ah, they have Pick Your Poison. I should have known about this. Yeah, of course. I did know about this. I think in that case, we're pretty happy to try to take out the Leyline binding. Yeah, we knew about this. Yeah, let's yeah, do this now while we have the 1 mana open. I was playing Bitter Blossom in this spot to play around Sheoldred's Edict and also just have something for these sort of matches. And for it to line up better with Pick Your Poison is definitely enticing. And who doesn't love seeing Bitter Blossom in play? Let's be honest. There's some great screenshots you can get with Bitter Blossom. Ooh, okay. I like Bog here because it's just a land I can throw away to this crop. So there's the binding. Comes into play. They target. Honestly, I'm pretty happy to try to save this. Two cards left for them. Alright. That's fine. They're down to 0 cards. It's tough that they have the mana for Lorien revealed. 5 mana, draw 3, pass. That would be a really good recovery from them. Especially with the Orc off the field as well. Okay. I'm going to hold the Petal. I think right now it's just better as unknown information. I think if it's a land in hand, you play it because of things like Up the Beanstalk, Lorien revealed. So I assume it's a counter spell or a removal spell that they don't want to use on the Orc token. Will it get there? Okay. Obviously, 4 Throlingus is in the format as well. That'd be a pretty sweet card for them here. Nothing. They chose to shuffle. Wow. Ooh, okay. It's getting in. Play the stage. Oh no, land for them. I am just gonna copy my Bayou. Be double green. Go, you good thing. They're pretty much like they can't use the Flooded Strand unless they get rid of the Orc army here. Ooh. Bro. Oof. Nice. But do they have enough? Oh, they can't get it back this turn. Okay. Needle. No. Escape is an alternative cost. I believe. So you can Needle Uro, but it does nothing. I believe is correct. You can't, yeah. did see Teferi. I'm going to cast it and see if they fetch. They're just going to force negation it. Okay. That's fine. That does put an extra card into the bin. Maybe there's a world there where you just don't cast anything to not fuel the bin. But now they double fetch. Do they have the lands for it? That's something else as well. I guess it doesn't matter. They can just fetch to put the land in the bin and grab nothing if they really need to. Oh, but if they use Force Negation, sorry, if they use the Sanctuary, they can't Uro here. So surely they just let that happen. If the last card is a card that can't go into the bin. Yeah, it's a maze, so you don't do this. You say no, you cast the Uro. You go back up to 5. No. Oh, they have a swords. Okay. Honestly, that's fine. Because now we know about that a swords is being used. Alright, deck. Sad. That's fine. We got this. Uro's a tough one because Dismember doesn't deal with it. It really has to be Bojuka Bog. Leyline isn't worth it in this matchup. Uro is very good. I think it is the perfect legacy power level. Thoughtseize does change the clock. So I actually won't Thoughtseize here. But I think we're definitely bringing in Force of Vigor. That's an easy one. Because the extra 1 life means we don't have to block with Marit Lage, which gives us just this 1 draw to draw Dark Depths, or a similar effect. No. Okay, that's all good. We were pretty far off. Yeah. Now that we know the deck, pretty happy to probably drop on Needles for Duresses. Dismembers don't really hit what we want it to, so I'm happy to bring in the Forces. I do like the Safekeepers. Maybe not all 3. It honestly could just be a Spirit Guide. Just because there's a bit more setup. We're not just wanting to go ham and just, you know, if you have it, you have it. There is a bit more play to what we're trying to achieve. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Especially Duress is like an early Force of Vigor effect. No, sadly. Has like a way to find 1 piece, but that's it. This is a way to find 1 piece again, but just, yeah, double ups again, which is a little bit rough. especially for like a deck that has a lot of 2-for-1s. You really want to try to keep a 7 or a 6, but unfortunately there's no real plans with these, so really looking for that card quality over card quantity. With this hand, you probably wouldn't want to Scrying until you draw into either Depth Stage or Hexmage, or another way to find some of those. Ugh. I think sadly we are just keeping this for the sake of keeping it. And we do potentially have depths off the top. So I think here I'm just going to bottom the swamp, because the petal is a way to get green online. And we have the Urborg, which is nice. I think it's the Force here. We don't have a green card. It would be pretty much even worse than a 2-for-1, because Beanstalk does draw a card. Alright. Opponent went to 6. Here I'm probably happy just to take the Lorien revealed. The Uro turn 3 is a little bit tough. I could also just take the Uro, which gives us time. Like, not until turn 5 they'll get it online. Or I guess turn 4 potentially. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I can't have that coming down turn 3, sadly. Interesting, they played the Flooded Strand over the Misty. That's pretty good. That's kind of what we were looking for. The sad thing is that none of those worlds do nothing if they find Teferi, which means we have to find Hexmage as well to deal with Teferi. Misty. I don't think we play that just yet. Wow, they're gonna miss a land drop just to hold the Lorien revealed. Wow, I really thought they would have used that just to find that land drop. Maybe now? No. A lot of live draws, which is nice. This is definitely the tough part of keeping a hand that has one half of the combo and not a straight line to the other half, where obviously having no control over the top of your deck can really come back to bite you. Happy to try to get double green for Force of Vigor. Honestly, here there's also a world where I just play out the Spirit Guide as a creature. I mean, if they want to spend a Terminus here, that's fine. Nice. I mean, that is something. I'm pretty happy with that. Thoughtseize. I could try to Thoughtseize like the turn I want to do something. So I think, like, I feel if they had a Teferi, they would have played it. If they had a 4th, they probably would have 4thed. Sadly, Not This World is only... Oh, I guess it is. Yeah, that's very true. We could have... I totally forget there is like an actual use of this card outside of just the free version. Yeah, I'm happy to keep the Thoughtseize until the turn we want to actually do something to clear the way. Especially if it's like a Sylvan Scrying or a crop rotation effect. Puts him to 21, which is a little bit awkward. But wow, no land. Which means they're just going to go to discard, potentially. Yeah, this can get a little bit ugly. Like turn 9 and just haven't really found what we're trying to find. They're gonna force that. I'm pretty happy to try to maybe draw into depths here. Another force. Okay. Wow. They didn't play the Uro. One, two, three, 1, 2. I think we can play the Spirit Guide here. They didn't want to cast the Uro. Swords is fine. Especially, like, they're not running out of cards, so I could see you just, like, not respecting the... the elf. But I definitely don't know their hand as well. But I think, like, at 19 life, when you have a 6/6 about to come into play that gains you a 3 on ETB and attack, a 2/2 isn't too relevant, but maybe the hand just lines up differently than what I expect. But I think if they can just spend a Swords Plowshares on a 2/2 of ours, then we have bigger problems. Because their hand must be pretty good. I am not playing in the showcase. No, it is nearly midnight for me, sadly. Alright, we got some good draws here. Here we go. Not that. Not that. I'm happy to keep that for one turn. Because I'd hate to use it, not really hit something good, and then next turn draw into like Sylvan Scrying and have that countered. Chose to not shuffle. Oof. Yeah, maybe it's a Mulder 4. And just like make sure you have the make sure you have a plan. Six cards for them. Yeah, now we can't even Thoughtseize. Really tricky spot. Now a 2020 doesn't even do it. Tough. Yeah, really tough. Damn, that's a 1/4. Really thought the deck would have been put up a little bit more of a fight, but sadly it was not there. But yeah, I think that can definitely just be like a good showing of variance for sure. Because we have so many good ways to find the cards we're after, but you really got to have some pretty strong hands. And sadly tonight there's a fair bit of mulliganing, which can happen with a deck like this, especially when you are pretty aggressive towards the turbo strategy. But I think if I played back a few more leagues, I would hope we would do a bit better than the 1/4, and yeah, put up some pretty strong results. But that's me. A huge thank you to you guys for coming and watching. I'm gonna quickly see who else is streaming and send you guys over that way. No one's streaming at the moment, but MTG is playing some Magic, so we'll send you there. Have a great week. If you're still on your weekend, have a great weekend, and I'll be back next Thursday. Actually, maybe not. Actually, yeah, I will be. I'll see you then.